The Rip is out on Netflix, new crime thriller from director Joe Carnahan, who previously made The Grey in 2011, followed by a bunch of seemingly unremarkable movies. This reunites longtime friends and collaborators Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, also stars Steven Yeun, Teyana Taylor, Catalina Sandino Moreno, Sasha Cale, Kyle Chandler, and Scott Adkins. Story follows a squad of cops in Miami who bust up stash houses looking for drugs and money. They go on one such rip, as it is called in the police slang, and quickly discover that the house that they expected to contain less than $500,000 actually has 20 million in it. The cops have to stay on site and count the money, and this immediately means that the tension ratchets up, and trust is hard to maintain because, what if someone tries to steal some of the money, skim from the top? What if someone is working already with an outside group and this turns into an ambush or a robbery? What if the cartel shows up to get their money back? So I think the first half of the film is really quite good, despite some nonsense plot points, which I will get to. It does a solid job of ratcheting up the tension and making you feel paranoid and distrustful about every single character. It also throws you right into the story and doesn't immediately explain everything that's going on, which means you have to pay attention and keep up with what's going on. There's one great moment when someone calls the house for the first time on the telephone and throws a number, and I don't want to spoil the specifics of the scene, but at that point I went, oh, okay, that's what the confusing dialogue earlier was for. It all makes sense now. It feels like the film, at least at this point, which I will also get to, treats you with respect and trusts you to connect the dots. It is also immediately noticeable that this movie was not made by Netflix, only distributed by Netflix, because it actually looks like a movie, not daytime soap opera. However, about the midway point, when the shooting first starts, the film begins to unravel and very quickly drops in quality, becoming increasingly nonsense all the way into a stupid final act and a tacked on ending. There are so many things that make no sense. The characters think they're surrounded by the cartel and they've just been shot at. Yet two of them leave to go outside and walk and run in the middle of the street. Why would they do that? Ben Affleck disappears from the movie for about 10 minutes and shows back up with an armed guy saying, "No, guys, it's okay. He is from the cartel, this other guy, but he's cool." What the fuck is that all about? Then they're in the armored van and have this conversation, which is like the end of a Scooby-Doo episode. Full explanation, complete with flashbacks, which makes it clear that the movie doesn't respect its audience after all. And it's also revealed that at this point they're all surrounded by FBI. And when you get to that point in the movie, just have them have a conversation about morals and ethics between the good guys and the bad guys, and end the movie there. But no, for some reason, both bad guys manage to escape this ambush and do it separately, which means not one but two separate nonsense chase sequences, one on foot, one in cars. All logic is thrown out the window, explosive action takes over, but it's boring because you know how it's going to end anyway. And then the epilogue feels like a green screen reshoot added at the very end. There are logic problems earlier in the film as well. I mean, it opens with a sequence where a woman is shot in the chest with a shotgun at close range, which throws her several meters back, and somehow she's not a mangled corpse. She still manages to compose and send a coherent text message on her phone. Also, when they get to the stash house for the first time, the secret room makes absolutely no sense. Not only is it the most obvious place to hide something secret, but it also has this secret door that is too small to access the money, so you need to demolish the wall anyway. I mean, what is the purpose of that then? So, yeah, it is like a Swiss cheese of logic, full of holes, but somehow I guess because I'm a dude and I like these types of films, and Damon and Affleck are together great as always. It wasn't total garbage. It was still somewhat enjoyable, especially in the first half. Is it a good film? Not by any stretch, but is it a mildly entertaining way to turn off your brain and spend an afternoon after a hard day's work? I think so. Forgettable and unremarkable, but somewhat weirdly enjoyable nonetheless.